Hello and welcome to my Monday Night Raw review for December 30th, 2019, the final Raw of this decade. And overall, I've got to say, there was some good stuff on tonight's show. I'm not just going to be completely negative and say it all sucked. There was some good stuff, but on the whole, it's Monday Night Raw. What do you expect? It's just not a great show. Because literally, here's what happened. After the first 40 minutes, which was actually pretty good, the show took a massive nosedive. And outside of a Randy Orton AJ Styles segment in the beginning of the third hour, the 2 hours and 20 minutes that came after that first 40 were just absolutely god awful. That Lana and Lashley wedding, oh my god. I'll get into that later. You guys are in for a treat. So, overall, the show, not great. That's my review for the final Raw of the decade. Pretty much with this review, the first the first 40 minutes of the show, so the opening segment, the Aleister Black Buddy Murphy match, I'll go into much more detail than I will for like the remainder of the show, because after that first 40 minutes, I lost all interest in this show, because, it's WWE Raw. My interest just falls off a cliff, and so does everyone in the viewing audience, because of what they're giving us on TV. So, without further ado, I'll get into the show. Immediately, we do the intro, and we have the graphic for Lana and Lashley's wedding. Right away, I regret my choice to do the review. So from here, we go into Kevin Owens. He comes out. Owens recaps the storyline, that he's in at the moment. He says that he'll keep calling out Seth and AOP until they take him on, because he'll take one of them down, which is just brainless. Makes Owens sound like a clown. Seth Rollins comes out with AOP. Rollins is wearing a black glove on his right hand, which suited him. Rollins blames Owens and people like him for putting him in this position. Okay? Rollins is, quote-unquote, sacrificing himself for the greater good to be a messiah, to take this industry into the next decade. That's not a definitive reason why he's a heel now, but we'll go with it. Owens runs at AOP. AOP then beat down Owens again. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, this is getting so old. Then Samoa Joe's music hit, which was good. Samoa Joe ran down. He big booted Akam, which looked sick. He tossed Razor into the barricade. Joe unloads with strikes on Rollins. The crowd loved it. Joe locks a Kikita clutch in on Rollins. Then AOP beat down Joe again. Owens then came back with a steel chair and attacked Rollins with it. Heaps of security rush the ring, and this just adds to the spectacle, guys. Don't let it distract you from the fact that nothing amazing is happening in the segment. It's really just add, aura to this. So that's our opening to Raw, just a big chaotic fight between AOP, Rollins, Owens, and Joe. So from here, go to commercial, we come back, Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens are talking in their locker room. Charlie Caruso comes over and asks Joe for an explanation as to what happened. Joe does a passionate mini promo about doing what's right. Owens says that he's down for, Joe whenever as a tag team partner. Joe tells these security guards that if they touch him, he'll break their fingers, which is hilarious. Classic Joe. The security guards themselves, they look like complete clowns. They have no place being security guards. So we got that. And then from here, we got the main event. Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. You see the picture of this match on the screen. This was my highlight of the show without a doubt. So we're getting into this match about 18 minutes into the show. Into the action. Early on, they exchanged some strikes. Black went to ringside. Murphy teased a suicide dive before sitting down cross-legged and mocking Black. That was great. They essentially did the same thing moments later, only Black was mocking Murphy. From here, Black slowed down the match and worked over Murphy with strikes, kicks, and whatnot. Murphy went up to the top turnbuckle. Black nailed this insane-looking pump kick to the jaw of Murphy. That was sick. Murphy's spit went flying to the crowd. That was great. Black went to the middle turnbuckle. Murphy legged Black. Black crashed face first off the top of the ring post and went hard to the floor as we went to the commercial break. Back from commercial break, both guys are striking away on each other on the apron. Black hits a moonsault to Murphy at ringside. Black hits a springboard moonsault off the middle rope to Murphy in the ring. Murphy then began selling a big knee injury, that was alright, I guess. Murphy sent Black hard into the middle turnbuckle for a near fall. Murphy then completely no-sold this knee injury as he exploded with a massive suicide dive to Black. That I didn't like. Like, he's selling the knee injury like it's broken, then he just sprints and flies like 20 feet through the air. So that happened. We get "This Is Awesome" chants from here. That was deserved. Black then all of a sudden began selling this knee injury again. Murphy dumped Black off the top to the mat. Murphy then delivered a powerbomb on Black for a near fall. Murphy tried to mock Black a little bit. Black grabbed at Murphy's leg. Murphy superkicked Black in the face. They exchanged some wicked kicks. Murphy did a jumping knee. Aleister Black then hit a brain buster on Murphy for a near fall. Black finally delivered a Black Mass. He held up Murphy with his foot, which I think looks sick, before delivering a second Black Mass. 1, 2, 3. Gets the victory. Aleister Black defeats Buddy Murphy for a second time in 2 weeks. this match I thought was really good. It got around 17, 18 minutes, minus the 4 minutes for the commercial. I think the action we got was excellent. Both guys look great. I think these two just deserve so much more. If this was a world title program, I'd be all for it. These two guys are great. Aleister Black, I've said numerous times in numerous videos, I think he should be world champion, but will he be? I doubt it. I'd give this match 4.25 stars. That was really good. And so from here, we go backstage. Rollins with the AOP. AOP, they're speaking in like another language. AOP then speak fluent English, which that pissed me off because they clearly can speak fluent English. So why haven't they been doing that the entire time? Why do they cut promos in a foreign language? Why the crowd just gives them what chance? So regardless, security comes over and Rollins leads AOP out of the building. And then from like that moment on, that one moment, the show just took a nosedive. Like that one moment there. From here, we then go to Eric Rowan standing with his cage. He congratulates Lana on getting married. And then Rowan just starts shouting. And then we go to commercial. So that was the first 40 minutes of Raw. Immediately right there, I knew this show is going to take a nosedive. And when you're listening to this review, from here, my in-depthness in this review is really going to it's going to go away because the rest of this show just doesn't deserve that much attention. So, Eric Rowan versing a jobber, no need to talk about this. It's the same thing we've seen for the last 6 weeks. Rowan wins with an iron claw, wherever his finisher is. You don't care, moving on. Backstage, Lana's rubbing herself with some oil. We go to commercial, moving on. We then get Charlotte Flair. She comes out. Pretty much all we got in this segment of Raw was Charlotte coming out. She looked like she'd had even more plastic surgery. It was ridiculous. So she says that she'll be in the Women's Royal Rumble match for 2020. She says that she's the first entrant to announce herself, both the men or the women, whatever. She's bragging about her accomplishments. I don't really care. Natalya came out and we went to commercial. So that was like a 5-minute block, complete waste of time. This match, it just made zero sense. These two were a tag team literally 5-6 weeks ago, and they didn't even acknowledge this during the match on commentary. So the match got 15 minutes, which I really didn't agree with. It got a mid-match commercial, along with the commercial it went where Natalya came out. So this match got too much time. The action was, I guess it was good. I didn't really pay much attention to it because I don't care. In the end, well, we got Charlotte locking in a figure eight and making Natalya tap out. Why did this go 15 minutes? That's my main question. This is the kind of thing, like the people who are just glass half full with Monday Night Raw, they'll say that, oh, this is great because, it was a good match, Charlotte, Natalya, what can you complain about? But in reality, it's 15 minutes with no story. So that's what we got there. Nothing really overly special. Moving on. Backstage, Becky Lynch is interviewed. She announces that the Raw Women's title match versus Asuka at the Royal Rumble is official. Becky then talks about her being the face of the business as a female, which is a bit of political agenda, but regardless, I think this is great. Becky and Asuka, that's going to be probably the match of the night at the Royal Rumble, unless they announce something sick next week. So I think this show, this is probably one of the better moments of the night. That wasn't the first 40 minutes, so that was good. From here, we see Lashley, Bob Lashley, looking in a mirror and we go to commercial. After the break, we get another Liv Morgan vignette, nothing of note there. Then we get a tag team match where the OC take on the Street Profits. Beforehand, the OC came out and they're basically saying that they beat the unbeatable Viking Raiders. Same thing we've seen for the last month. Then the Street Profits music hits. They come down and say that they beat the OC. Don't care. Styles then tells them to stick to their backstage segments. Dawkins then tells them that they're named after a teen soap opera. Just garbage dialogue. Whoever wrote this should be embarrassed. They begin singing, the Street Profits do. I'm just cringing. The crowd's dead during this. It was hard to watch. The match begins. Styles gets ejected and we go to commercial. Afterwards, we got an alright little match. In the end, Ford hit his big frog splash and pinned Carl Anderson, so the Street Profits get the win here. Ford afterwards grabbed the top rope and was shaking it violently where his eyes were rolling in the back of his head. That visual itself was better than anything we saw in the match or the promo segment beforehand. This is a much needed win for the Street Profits, but at the same time, it means nothing because this tag team division is useless. It's 50-50 booking when you think about it, so whatever. Backstage, the Street Profits do a little promo. They swiftly transition from the win against the OC to talking about the main event wedding, so they're doing their unofficial host of Raw stuff again. I don't really care, and we move on. So we go to a handicap match. Drew McIntyre takes on Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Beforehand, Drew McIntyre comes out and says that he's, the sexy Scotsman, and he's being more interactive with the crowd. I swear to God, if this company makes Drew McIntyre a dancing Scotsman, a tap dancer with a kilt, they could do that, genuinely. He should be world champion in 2020. He should be a main eventer. He should beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble. Will that happen? I doubt it. And so this match with Ryder and Hawkins, he beat both of them. like the trash that they are in like a minute and a half. So that's all we have there. So that wraps up the second hour of the show. So we've just seen 2 hours of Raw. The 80 minutes since Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy finished has just been absolutely god-awful at this point. So we're told next week we'll see Brock Lesnar, who's the WWE champion. He'll make an appearance. Andrade will face Rey Mysterio for the US title. And there'll be a Raw triple threat tag title match between the Viking Raiders, OC, and Street Profits. So that sounds like some notable stuff. How much of that's really going to be that great, I don't know, but waits to be seen. From here, we get Randy Orton addressing his injury to open the third hour. Orton, he takes 9 months to get down to the ring. Like, he's normally slow to get to the ring already, but this just took forever. So, he's walking down slowly with the crutches. He, it really sells getting in the ring. Like, he gets some, WWE assistant to help him get into the ring. I'm like, this couldn't take any more time, could it? So that happens. They're really hamming up this injury to the max. Orton says that WWE isn't valet, and that there are plenty of risks that come with the performance in the ring. That's very true. Orton says that he's seen champions surrender their titles due to injury. He names drops Edge, which is interesting. He talks about Edge losing his career to injury, so planting the seeds, maybe Rated RKO versus the OC at WrestleMania. That'd be a cool match. Orton says that he's looking at being out for a very long time, which right there, I knew this was BS. No. I knew it was the work from, I'm going to be out for a very long time. No, you're not. Then Orton says that there's a chance he might not be able to come back. AJ Styles' music hits. He comes out. He's just making fun of Randy. He's poking his knee, daring Orton to hit him. Styles eventually goes to walk off. Orton calls him back into the ring. Orton then he knocks the crutches out of his hands and hits Styles an RKO. Orton's posing on the top rope. He's fine. Whatever. So that's the end of the segment. Orton's posing on top rope. Randy Orton's fine. This feud with Styles will continue. That house show injury was all a work, which stuff like that's good, but there's just not enough of it. So from here, we got a recap of Andrade. It shows what this show did to me. Andrade against Rey Mysterio at the MSG house show. Mysterio is shown saying that he shouldn't be counted out because of his size and the odds and whatnot. And then he promises to finish AOP and Rollins. And then he finishes the little mini promo that was recorded after the loss at MSG by saying, quote, "Booyaka 619." So he just quotes his theme song, which, okay, he quoted his theme song, brilliant. So from here we see Andrade come out with Zelina Vega, then we go to commercial. Back from the break, Andrade's taking on some jobber. Don't really care about this. This ended up leading to Ricochet coming out. Ricochet was cut a little promo saying that, you took out Humberto Carrillo, how dare you, just standing up for the babyface, that kind of thing. So from here we go to commercial. After the break we get Ricochet taking on Andrade. This match, it was alright. It was the middle of the third hour of Raw, so by this point I was pretty much over the show, and still to come we had a wedding. So we got this. Zelina Vega pulled up the mat on the floor at ringside to give a flashback to the Humberto Carrillo stuff. The match rolled on. We got Ricochet doing this very impressive suicide dive, as Ricochet does. They went to ringside yet again. Ricochet got tossed onto the floor, the exposed concrete little bit of floor at ringside. Then we rushed back to another commercial. So from here, the match rolled on. They're about to do the finish. So after Ricochet hit this standing shooting star press, which always looks incredible, he went up to the top rope, and then the referee was distracted, checking on Andrade. From here, we got Zelina Vega jumping onto the apron and shoving Ricochet off the top rope. Ricochet crashed and burned. Andrade hammerlock DDT'd Ricochet, hits the mat, 1, 2, 3. Andrade beats Ricochet. This match, it actually felt pretty good. If you're doing mid-card matches, Andrade is US champion, Ricochet, matches like this, I think this is more the direction you want to go. Granted, was there a storyline? Not really. It was just Ricochet wanting to defend the honor of Carrillo, but it was something. And that's what I asked for. Just some stuff like this, it's a groundwork for what you can do going forward. Okay? Here we go. The wedding of Bobby Lashley and Lana. As you can hear, the weather outside can't stand this segment either, so that sets the tone really well. But nevertheless, these two, this has been a much touted wedding. For 2 weeks we heard about this, and, well, I don't know where to begin. So, for starters, we saw Lana taking pictures in a wedding dress before a commercial. Before we got to the break, Lawler said that it's going to be the biggest segment of Raw this decade, the biggest wedding ever in Raw, the biggest moment in the history of Raw, which every time Lawler would say something like that, I just cringed, because it's just, this is one of the absolute worst storylines the company has ever put on. I'm dead set serious. So, we get all the talking, all this build-up. we hadn't seen Rusev on this to the show on the show at this point, so you pretty much knew what was coming. So from here, they do the wedding. So there was this really elaborate set, like they'd gone like all out for this. The ring had just this like white carpet. They had the the floral displays. They had the what's the name of the bloke who does the marriage ceremony, whatever. They had a bunch of these chairs on the stage. No one was even sitting in them, which looked terrible. They had like an orchestra. It was this super overdramatic deal, which you'd expect that because WWE have like 40 soap opera writers and about 2 like pro wrestling writers, but still. So Bobby Lashley comes out first. He's got this literally, he's shirtless, and then he put on this like vest, suit blazer, which, like vest of a suit. It looked terrible. Like, it looked ridiculous. Bobby comes out, Bob Lashley, and then Lana makes her entrance. It's this big, elaborate thing. She comes down in the dress, you got the orchestra playing some tune. She gets into the ring. Bob Lashley helps her into the ring. Then we go to a commercial. So, as usual, like their final commercial in on Raw. During this commercial break, all I'm thinking to myself is, I can't believe I'm watching this. This soap opera PG garbage between Bob Lashley and Lana, which 3 months ago this started. Now we're here after the divorce court, the fake pregnancy, everything that came along with it. So we get to this last bit of the wedding. Just so you guys know, I took no notes for this. This is all just what I witnessed on the USA Network for literally the 20 minutes that this wedding went for. So right away, they're doing the marriage not the counselor, the pastor, the marriage host. He's talking, he's just doing his usual speech. Lana's getting angry at the crowd. They're chanting Rusev Day, booing. The crowd just crapped all over this, and fair enough. They began doing vows. She got interrupted by the crowd over and over again. She got really angry. That was cringe. Bob Lashley, his vows, they got interrupted, and then they're getting what chants every 2 seconds. So that was pretty bad. That was bad enough. So at this point, it's literally, the show's gone 3 hours. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're going to wrap this up. But then it went for 11 more minutes. And this 11 minutes was genuinely, I'm serious when I say this, the absolute worst segment I have ever seen on Monday Night Raw. I'm not over-exaggerating. That's it. You watched this wedding. I knew in going in, it was probably going to be the worst segment in Raw history. And it coming out, I think it generally was. Because what we got here, we got Lana literally having a mini breakdown over nothing. And then Bob Lashley is trying to cool things down. So they eventually come back to the 2 microphones. And then the bloke says, look, is there anyone who has anything to say about the wedding? Like anything they want to cut the wedding off or whatever. So then we get some random guy, some just dude they found off the street, outside of Walmart. They found this guy. He says, look, I object the wedding because of Lana. I was Lana's first husband, and we married on her 18th birthday, which right there, I couldn't. I nearly walked out altogether. I was just embarrassed I watched this. So Lana's first husband, he just gets brutalized and tossed out by Bob Lashley. From there, you get this whole segment, guys. I know I sound shaken. I don't have notes prepared for this. This is just my honest opinions of what I witnessed on Monday Night Raw in this main event segment. So from here, Bob Lashley's first wife comes out. This woman, clearly the crowd knew who she was because she was getting chants for her. She comes out and says that, Bob Lashley was my first wife. And Lana's looking all shocked. Bob Lashley was like, oh my god, it's her. Lana actually slaps her off the apron. And then from here, it's any final objections for the wedding. So we get literally Liv Morgan. She walks out. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? She says, one of the people in the ring, they helped me out so much this year. They saved me. They took me through a tough time. I was down and out. And then Bob Lashley's like, I'd never met you, never talked to you in my life. And then Liv Morgan goes, it's not you. And then she's like, it's Lana. So she's literally screaming. And Lana's looking all shocked and embarrassed. Her hair's everywhere already. So from here, Lana and Liv Morgan get into this massive slapping match. They're just on the ground rolling around. Referees, Fit Finley, a bunch of these agents, they're out trying to rip them apart. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, genuinely, hand on heart, I don't know why I do this anymore. A segment like that, to finish the decade, that's how WWE finished the decade, with Liv Morgan and Lana rolling around on top of each other, having the worst slapping exchange I've ever seen. So Lana and Liv Morgan do that. Eventually Liv Morgan gets dragged away through the crowd by the agents and referees. So the wedding, quote-unquote, resumes. Lana's completely looking shaken. Bob Lashley's just saying there, like, this is a train wreck, and it was. And then I noticed the massive cake, which it was there the whole time, but I knew from the start, but I only realized really then, I wonder what's going to happen to the cake. Either someone's going through it, someone's in it. 2 seconds after I thought that, the top of the cake gets pulled off. It's not even like too legit of a cake. Rusev's just in the cake. So he jumps out, beats up Bob Lashley. They destroy the whole wedding set. Rusev super kicks Bob Lashley. He like stares down Lana, and then Liv Morgan rushes back and slaps Lana over and over. And that's how the show goes off the air. A 12-minute overrun to this god-awful wedding. Rusev, Liv Morgan standing tall to close Raw this decade as Bob Lashley and Lana are on the ground. So this storyline is probably going to go for another like 4 to 6 weeks, with Liv Morgan explaining herself, with Rusev doing, the match with Bob Lashley. They're doing mixed tag matches. Lana, Liv Morgan. This is just going to keep going. And honestly, this is probably the worst storyline I've ever seen them do, because of how long it's gone. Usually bad storylines are over in a month or 6 weeks. This has gone 3 months of just the worst television that the company's ever put on. Just this train wreck soap opera, which isn't entertaining in the slightest. Like, I was watching this segment and thinking to myself, this is just bad. Like, that's the kind of point. This is just god-awful garbage. And the fact of the matter is, people backstage are loving this. That's the biggest issue. People backstage think this is genuinely good content that'll get them great ratings. This is making people turn off in droves. And there's going to be more of this to come in 2020. They think this is a great success. So we're going to have to see more of this crap, more of this filth on television. I'm sick of it, okay? There's only so much of this I can take. I dealt with the divorce court. I dealt with the fake pregnancy. And now this. Like, I can't believe this is a wrestling show. I'm talking about stuff like this. It's just... That last 15 minutes was genuinely probably the worst content I've ever seen on a wrestling program. I didn't think it could get worse than the pregnancy announcement. I didn't think it could get worse than the divorce court. Like, all these segments are so bad. Like, before Raw went into the overrun period, I was like, oh, this is just the same as everything. And then they introduced Lana's first husband, Lashley's first wife. Liv Morgan came out, and I thought, oh, this is how they're going to use Liv Morgan in this role. So, honestly, that's Raw. I could run over this whole show again. You guys don't care. You're just here to hear about the wedding. Basically, Aleister Black Buddy Murphy. If you didn't see that, go out and watch it. The opening segment was good. I enjoyed that bit. Becky Lynch's little promo backstage was good. Everything else, on the whole, was just pretty weak. The Orton and Styles stuff was alright. But literally, it was about 2.5 hours of just nothingness. A really good match and a fun opening segment and a good backstage interview. And then there's this wedding segment. This was all... I'm just going to probably cut the video in a moment, guys. I need to go and just bathe in bleach after watching that. That was absolutely god-awful. Like, I knew it would be bad, as I said, but I just... Hopefully you guys can hear in my voice. I'm just done. I can't be bothered anymore. Like, this show disappoints me time and time again. And the fact of the matter is, 2020 is only going to be worse. So that's how we end 2020. I'm going to give this show overall grade. I'm going to give this an E, purely because of that closing wedding. If the wedding wasn't there, I'd probably give this show like a D+ or a C. Because honestly, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't good or anything, but it just wasn't that bad. But that wedding, what a way to end this show. Actually, no, stuff it. I'm giving this show an E-. I don't care. I can't even be bothered. I'm done.